Through this documentary, there will be insights on antibiotics to inform the audience on things such as how they work, what they are used for, and the use of antibiotics in poor countries. This documentary is about antibiotics. What are antibiotics? Well, there are many ways in which antibiotics can be described, as people have different interpretations towards it. However, antibiotics are life-saving medicines. They are a natural substance which suppresses growth of bacteria or either kills the bacteria straight away, as it gives the host's immune system time to beat whatever has been left of the bacteria. They are mostly developed by other organisms, for instance, fungus and bacteria. In 1928, Alexander Fleming had been the one who discovered penicillin, as he left a culture plate of Viral Staphylococcus bacteria open without a cover. Then Fleming noticed a blue-green type of fungus growing on the plate. The fungus was classified as Penicillium notatum. This fungus killed the gram-positive bacteria just like staph. Up until the 1950s, it was stated that people were able to get penicillin over the counter without having a prescription. It had been advised to the public that whoever used this magic bullet for anything, even conditions that were not treatable by antibiotics, for instance, cancer and viral infections. Antibiotics are used to cure infections which are caused by bacteria. For instance, illnesses like tuberculosis and salmonella are caused by bacteria. The two ways that antibiotics can work are by either bactericidal or bactericidation. Bactericidal antibiotic is when it kills a bacteria. The penicillin is the bactericidal. This usually gets in the way with the construction of the bacterium's cell wall or the cell's contents, whereas a bactericytic makes a bacteria stop from multiplying. There are only certain infections that antibiotics are able to work against, infections which are only produced by bacteria. For instance, some bacterial infections include certain ear infections, sinus, bladder, and lung infections, but some common infections are created from viruses. Also, antibiotics should not be used for viral infections. For example, such as herpes infections, cases of influenza, and HIV/AIDS. Antibiotics can cause various side effects, for instance, nausea and diarrhea and stomach pain. People can get an allergic reaction, as certain antibiotics are able to kill natural occurring bacteria. The good bacterium is then replaced by bacteria that can cause diarrhea or yeast infections. There are also some rare side effects associated with antibiotics, such as the development of kidney stones, abnormal blood clotting, and sensitivity to sun, blood disorders, and deafness. How do you think you could prevent antibiotic-resistant infections?
There are many ways you could prevent antibiotic-resistant infections. Some could include talking to your healthcare provider, not taking them for viral infections, making sure you are not consuming someone else's antibiotics which have been prescribed for them.
Do you think antibiotics are overly prescribed?
Yes, I think antibiotics are overly prescribed for the most littlest of complaints, such as having a cold and flu, as most doctors will prescribe antibiotics for kids for things, making us just spend more money when not needed.
Do you think antibiotics has caused more problems than it has solved?
Well, there is no real answer for whether or not antibiotics have caused more problems than it has solved, as everyone is different and they all have a different opinion about the issues, as antibiotics can both be good and bad depending on the way and what it is used for.
Antibiotics play a major role in developing countries as they help the people there through certain diseases that they are suffering from, especially in countries like India and Africa. Everyone has a different opinion about antibiotics, however, people in developing countries see it as a miracle, something that will help them recover as they have given up on hope and think that they will be long gone in just a couple months' time. They help improve the growth in children, as most children in developing countries are at risk of undernourishment, diseases affecting their immune system, causing them to only have a certain period of time to live. It was estimated that in 1990 there had been about 39.5 million deaths in developing countries had occurred. It was suggested that 9.2 million were caused by infections and parasite diseases, but infections in the lower respiratory tract had been one of the most common cause of death. To make sure people in developing countries are recovering and getting better by consuming antibiotics, they need to control the useful life of antimicrobial drugs, as they need to make sure they have improved access to diagnostic laboratories, improved surveillance of the emergence of resistance, better regulation of antibiotics, and better education. Back in the days, antibiotics were stated as a magic bullet, as this magic bullet helped cure all kinds of diseases, having no side effects towards our human body. Paul and Litch believed that chemists were able to develop the magic bullet which would discover certain disease-causing bacteria. A bacteria developed antibiotic resistant is passed down from cell to cell. The slow decreasing of certain types of antibiotics becomes effective when bacterial infections are killed. The development of multi-drug resistant bacteria strain a lot of antibiotics have become hardly efficient and not useful. Superbugs are draining of bacteria which have developed resistance to many kinds of antibiotics. This has been due to the cause of abuse and overuse of consuming antibiotics, as they are no longer as effective as they used to be when being treated for certain bacterial infections. One of the negative impacts that antibiotics have on microbes is immunicate, as the antibiotic itself has weakened the microbes which help fight the bacterial infections, helping the bacteria to develop resistance and increasing in numbers. Superbugs are responsible for all types of disease that link together with the weak immune system. Bacteria are able to become resistant from an antibiotic which had previously been effective, as this resistance is expected to develop through a long-term treatment with an antibiotic which would destroy a variety of bacteria. There are some types of bacteria that will not be treatable with just consuming a simple dosage of antibiotics, as the resistance is ascribed to overuse of antibiotics. There are 3 ways which non-resistant bacteria acquire resistance. These include inheritance, mutation, and gene trading. As inheritance are traits which are genetically transmitted from the parents to the offspring, and mutation is a heritable change in the nucleotide sequence or in a gene or chromosome. To conclude this documentary, through the research about antibiotics and how they work and what they are, everyone has their own opinions about if they are good or bad for us, as we are not all the same. I think that taking antibiotics can be both a good and bad thing, as they both have their benefits. However, more research needs to be conducted on the impact of antibiotics in human health. After doing some research into antibiotics and the impact that they have, it is clear in order to increase our knowledge and understanding of disease and cures, we are required to improve our research and technology in order to find solutions, especially for developing countries, allowing our future generations to have a better and healthier future.